Welcome to Notre Dame Day. My name is Leanne Tokars, class of 2003, and for the next hour, I'll be your co-host for our second annual Notre Dame Day. You're in for a real treat. 29 straight hours of great Notre Dame stories. Let's welcome my co-host for the hour, Bob.
Leanne, thanks very much. I am Bob Montgomery from WSBT. We're the local affiliate here for CBS in South Bend, and Leanne's colleague on the morning news. Now, each weekday, with me as our co-host, the Notre Dame legend, the all-time winningest coach, of course, at the University of Notre Dame for the basketball program, Ring of Honor inductee Richard Digger Phelps.
Can you believe it's a year ago we're through this? And guess what? More people around this world are enthused about what we're doing the next 29 hours. But more importantly, guess what? It's time to get ready to get the shirt. It's coming out in about 15 minutes. The 15th edition of the shirt for our football team and that student body and fans around this country.
That's right, Digger. So at 6:57, we're going live to the bookstore, and we'll take you to Notre Dame clubs and global gateways all around the world. We're also visiting landmarks on the Notre Dame campus, and we're going inside some of the residence halls and academic buildings. We'll bring you live entertainment by Notre Dame students, and we'll be interviewing Notre Dame stars such as our world-class faculty, our students, and alumni. We'll talk to Mike Bray, Brady Quinn, Golden Tate, and Notre Dame parents John Bon Jovi and Dick Vitale, just to name a few.
PTP, absolutely. All right, so just so you know where we're situated, we're broadcasting from the beautiful LaFortune Center for this Notre Dame Day, the studios inside LaFortune Student Center Ballroom. This is going to be our broadcast headquarters for the next 29 hours, where we'll welcome all those students, the parents, the alumni, the fans, the friends from all around the globe. So question one, Digger, you ready?
I'm ready. Let me say this. When we made this outreach a year ago and to see the impact this has made global, guess what? Tonight, we're giving away $1 million to student groups on this campus and around the world. But understand this, you decide by the way you vote on who gets what. So $1 million to go to whoever earns it by the way you vote, and that's what's going to be done, Leanne.
Yeah, that's right, Digger. The total votes cast during our Notre Dame Day broadcast for student clubs, residence halls, the academy, etc., will determine what percentage of that $1 million they'll receive. So the more votes you cast for your favorite academic unit, club, hall, team, and so on during Notre Dame Day, the higher the percentage of that $1 million they get.
Yeah, that is exciting, Leanne. We would really be remiss if we didn't give a quick shout out to the donors who were kind enough to make this $1 million possible, this $1 million gift. In particular, we need to mention, of course, Tom and Laura Woodward, Brad and Patricia Vince, and a host of anonymous donors. We'd also like to thank, of course, the Robert Weed Corporation out of Elkhart, Indiana, for this beautiful set you see all around us, Leanne.
Yeah, that's right, Bob. Now, if you make a gift during Notre Dame Day today, you can vote for the Notre Dame entity you'd like to see get part of that $1 million in challenge funds, from student clubs to departments in the colleges, from residence halls to athletic teams. At the conclusion of Notre Dame Day, each participating entity will receive a portion of the challenge fund based on the percentage of overall votes received. So your $10 gift has the possibility of actually being a $100 gift.
Yes.
Really exciting. So please consider making a gift and voting for your favorite Notre Dame group.
Well, let's get this thing started. I mean, we're ready to go. We want action. Let's do it. So now, let's introduce to you one of our Notre Dame reporters from the class of 2012, Justine Ward. Justine, it's to you.
Long-standing tradition here at Notre Dame, and this is actually the 26th year for the shirt. We just saw the Glee Club perform. We've seen the cheerleaders here, and one of the most look forward to is what color the shirt is going to be. And I'm actually with my buddy Tom. Tom, you have a prediction for the 2015 shirt color?
Yes, dark blue.
Dark blue, and actually, I'm going to go with Kelly Green. Tom, how do you feel about that?
That's good. I'd wear it.
All right, and we actually were going to find out. We're going to be live on stage with Jack Nolan with the 2015 edition of the shirt. That's coming up on Notre Dame Day, but for now, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Justine. Now, some of you may be wondering why we chose this date for our Notre Dame Day celebration. It's been said that during this time in 1879, the spirit of Notre Dame was forged forever. It's a story about the courage of Father Sorin, the Holy Cross priest who founded the university and served as its first president. And there's no one better to tell this story than the Holy Cross priest who serves as the 17th president of the University of Notre Dame, Father John Jenkins. Here's Father John.
I want to welcome all of you to Notre Dame Day. a global celebration of the Notre Dame family. Today we mark the 136th anniversary of Father Soren's return to campus on April 27, 1879, when he walked among the ruins left by a devastating fire that destroyed much of the Notre Dame campus, including the main building. Today we celebrate his resolve, with God's grace, to build a bigger and better Notre Dame out of the ashes. Let me take you back to December 5th, 1842, when the 26-year-old Father Soren wrote a letter to Blessed Basil Moreau, founder of the Congregation of the Holy Cross, in which he spoke of his 9-day-old University of Notre Dame du Lac. In this letter, he included a quote that has become famous. "The college cannot fail to succeed," he wrote. "Before long, it will develop on a large scale. It will become one of the most powerful means for good in this country." Today, we celebrate the ways in which Father Soren's prediction has become true. I encourage you to join the celebration as often as you can these next 29 hours as we share powerful and moving stories about our students, alumni, faculty, staff, parents, and friends. We have a great deal to be thankful for and proud of every day at the University of Notre Dame. Through the intercession of Our Lady, the patroness of Notre Dame, I ask God's blessing on every member of the Notre Dame family and on all who are dear to you. Enjoy the celebration. Thank you for being part of the Notre Dame family.
And now let's check in with Notre Dame Day reporter Nicole Skagen, who is over in the social media lounge. Nicole.
Thank you, Bob. I'm here with Jonathan, who runs our social media lounge, and we're going to be checking in every hour to get a little sense of the Notre Dame activities occurring all over the internet, various platforms. Now, Jonathan, give us the latest.
Sure. Well, thank you so much. Thanks to everyone who's watching year 2 of Notre Dame Day here. We're so excited next hour to give you a full tour of our social media lounge. It's bigger and better than ever this year because this year our Challenge Fund competition is bigger and better than ever. $1 million will be distributed to hundreds of campus interests according to your vote. So click that gold give and vote button. You can text ND-DAY to 80077, make a $10 gift, and get your votes together. We'll be back. We'll show you everything that's happening on social media, including a sneak preview at Notre Dame's first social media vending machine. You got to check this out. It's had people lined up all day long for it. So it's going to be very exciting, but I know everybody's excited to get to the shirt. So let's take things back to the desk.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. Back to you, Leanne.
All right, thank you. Now we've reached that time of year that so many people wait for each year in anticipation of the upcoming football season, the unveiling of the shirt. Let's go out to our Notre Dame Day reporter, Justine Ward, for the reveal. Justine.
Okay.
Another amazing thing about Ron, he doesn't age. He may have put on a few pounds.
And we think they just revealed the 2015 shirt. We're actually going to take a live look maybe at the stage right now. We have Jack Nolan up there. They're all gearing up for this big reveal. And actually the 26th year for the Notre Dame shirt, a long-standing tradition everybody gets pretty excited for. Like I said earlier, the color, always something discussed. Is it going to be Kelly green? Is it going to be navy? Is it going to be gold? And, you know, every year Notre Dame stands are filled with students in that shirt. Everybody loves it. And you can see we actually have a lot of people in the crowd right now still standing by. Any second now, that 2015 shirt is going to come out, and we will bring you the very latest as soon as it does. Reporting from the Hams Notre Dame bookstore, let's send it back to you.
As an employee of WNDU.
All right, we'll be right back after this break because guess what? I'm anxious to see the color. I think it might be green. Green machine. Hello.
The birth of your child is supposed to be the most joyous event in your life. But for me and my wife, the delivery of our second son, Nicholas, quickly turned into a nightmare.
While in labor, Angela Knight suffered an embolism. After an emergency C-section was successfully performed, she began to display uncontrolled bleeding. It became clear that if we didn't get her the right type of blood transfusion quickly, she wasn't going to make it.
I was in shock. At the same moment, my newborn son was taking his first breath. Doctors were telling me my wife was bleeding to death.
At the University of Notre Dame's Keck Center for Transgene Research, Professor Frank Castellino has developed cutting-edge blood analysis technology to help save the lives of trauma patients.
Physicians treating acute trauma-related bleeding need to make quick and accurate decisions as to what products to give and when to give them. The technology that we developed provides rapid real-time measurements, enabling the correct blood products to be delivered to each patient.
In the case of Angela Knight, we were able to use Professor Castellino's work to properly transfuse her with the correct blood products, stop the bleeding, and ultimately save her life.
It wasn't until 4 days after his birth that I finally got to see Nicholas. If not for the research done at Notre Dame, I never would have had the opportunity to hold my son.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting to improve trauma care.
We are the Fighting Irish.
An Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
We are the University of Notre Dame.
Welcome back to the second annual Notre Dame Day, and joining us now is class of 2015 MBA student Jordan Karcher, the founder of Grounds and Hounds, a new and unique coffee company that donates some of its profits to help no-kill animal shelters across the country. Jordan, welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Thank you so much for having me.
So kind of tell us about Grounds and Hounds.
So Grounds and Hounds really came to birth about 1.5 years ago, and it was my kind of dream to bring together two passions, and for me that was always specialty coffee and the love of waking up next to my dog every day, kind of excited to get the day started. So Grounds and Hounds was my version of bringing that together, but I also wanted to find a way to put that to work in the community. So we found a way to use a daily routine that's done kind of by everybody in this country, and try to fund an operation that we believe in very, very heavily.
Yeah, that really makes it unique. Kind of talk about the business model and why it's so unique.
So other than the fact that we use coffee to save dogs, we also try to make our donations localized. So a lot of companies, they generate profits or proceeds, and then they donate it and it gets shipped off and you never see what happens. For us, we wanted to connect with the community. So if you lived in South Bend, we want you to actually help the South Bend animal rescue organizations. Same thing for Los Angeles, Chicago. So everything you buy, the proceeds are donated to your local rescue organizations, so you can actually see the community improve with your daily routine.
That's really neat, because when you go out and you buy items that give back, a lot of times you don't see the result of that, but this stays in the community where you live.
Exactly.
Wow, that's neat. Now tell us, studying here at Notre Dame at the Mendoza College of Business, how has that helped you?
So it's been amazing. I think if you speak to anyone that's an entrepreneur, you get so focused in what you do on a day-to-day basis that it's very easy to block out what's happening around you. But being at Notre Dame, you're able to really challenge yourself, and being in class every day, I'm around so many smart and ambitious people. You have to challenge yourself to think deeper. You have to challenge your own assumptions. You have to kind of broaden your visibility. So I'm thinking of things that aren't related to Grounds and Hounds, but we find them to be unbelievably helpful every single day. Even with Notre Dame Day, we helped out the Notre Dame Club of Los Angeles with some of their amazing organization and initiatives. And for me, just to take myself away from the business, think about somebody else, think about what they're doing, and then apply it, some of those same techniques to Grounds and Hounds have really let us become really innovative and forward-thinking.
And so when you're finished here, what's next for Grounds and Hounds?
So we've expanded. We're in some Whole Foods stores around the country.
Wow.
We're in grocery stores out west. We're doing pretty well in California. We're hoping to keep growing. Everything's available online, and to help out the Notre Dame community, and hopefully it helps us. Everything's 10% off today for anyone from Notre Dame. Just put in the code Notre Dame 10 at checkout, and we'll take care of you from there.
Okay, great. Thank you for being part of Notre Dame Day, Jordan.
Thank you.
Good luck to you and Grounds and Hounds.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be right back.
Haiti is one of the least developed countries, the bottom 5% of the world. There's not adequate sewage, there's not adequate garbage collection, there's not adequate health care. What we're trying to do, at least, is to address some of the intractable health problems that are such a tax and a burden on the people here. Lymphatic filariasis is also known as elephantiasis. It really is a horrific disease. People's limbs swell to enormous proportions, become infected with bacteria and fungi. Their own families reject them. They really become the town monster.
I'm Tyler Savanoa. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Austin, Texas. This is how I'm spending my summer between my junior and senior year in college. Working with lymphatic filariasis, the most important thing has been coming to know the people that have it.
In just a few weeks here in Haiti, Tyler will be able to make a difference through his research work and through his affection for these people.
Since 1997, Notre Dame, in partnership with the Gates Foundation, has been committed to the elimination of lymphatic filariasis. Through the mass treatment of more than 1.3 million people annually, the Haiti program, led by Notre Dame biologist Father Thomas Streit, is one of the world's premier initiatives against elephantiasis. Through extensive research by both faculty and students, the chain of transmission for this mosquito-borne disease to the next generation is being broken. The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting for human dignity.
Fighting for our safety.
Fighting disease.
We are the Fighting Irish.
I'm here with Lauren Josephson and Mikey Nichols, both film majors and seniors here at the University of Notre Dame. First of all, congratulations on almost graduating. You're almost there, a little bit more to go. They made a documentary short about a 9-year-old boy who heard God's call to ride his bicycle all across America with the family RV right behind. Pretty cool story. Well, the film is called Eat, Ride, Sleep. Let's have a quick look.
We need a song about how podunk some parts of America are. We need to listen to the rest of those cities, because there's probably one on there that tells about it.
Did y'all have people buzzing you yesterday?
Yeah, oh yeah, several times. Blowing their horn, not in a nice way.
Especially at the beginning, they're like, oh yeah, right, sure, a 9-year-old's gonna ride his bike across country.
It's like they did not like cyclists on that road, and I didn't want to be there.
And even at 1,500 miles, you know, I've made it to San Antonio. I mean, why can't I make it to St. Augustine? Why not?
Did y'all pray yesterday morning?
Yes, but people still got to travel.
I know I'm gonna do it. I know God's gonna give me the strength.
Wow, how inspirational. What a great young kid. Lauren, what made you decide to do this?
Well, we took a documentary class here last fall, and I actually just happened upon the story, believe it or not. It was the night before pitches were due, and I was scouring the internet for some sort of idea, calling my mom and asking for anything, and I just happened upon an NBC story about CJ in San Diego, and he was taking off right about then.
So he's riding across the country, doing his thing, and you caught up with him in the biggest state to cover in the 48, Texas, of all places.
Oh, yes. We took our film equipment on a plane and went down to San Antonio and met up with the family.
Wow. So, Mikey, the principal filming of this during your fall break, how did that work out? How was that like or unlike any other fall break you've had?
Well, we got off the plane in San Antonio. We didn't know the people we were filming, so we had a handheld HVX camera, and we just kind of were like the fly on the wall. We tried to just film everything they did without them noticing. Well, like, they obviously knew we were there, but without them realizing. And at first it was a little awkward knowing, but by the end it went well. They were relaxed with us around. And the other times we were following him in a car, shooting out the window, which I don't know if we were allowed to do that. But,
it was safe.
It was safe. It was very safe. We made harnesses. And and she got good at driving while I was right next to him, so it was really fun.
Yeah, and that's a sign of someone who's really good, and that's you get in there and you do your thing when they're doing their thing, and you really catch the natural aspect of what they're doing. So congratulations to that. So I don't want to give the spoiler, but I need to ask, did he complete it?
He did complete his journey at St. Augustine, Florida.
Okay.
And it was kind of cool. He started with his back wheel in the Pacific Ocean, and then when he got there, he dipped his front wheel in the Atlantic Ocean.
Wow.
So that was a little cool.
Yeah. Do you think he's ever going to do anything like this again? He's such a young, 9 years old. He has his whole life ahead of him.
Oh, he's definitely going to do something like this again. He was talking about it when we were in San Antonio, when he hadn't even finished this ride. So
We asked him if he went over the Rockies. He's like, oh, I went over the small ones. I want to go over the big ones. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So one last question for you. Now that you've done this, you're going to take your Notre Dame degree. Are you going to turn this into a life's calling?
we sure hope so.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, really like
be
to go into
optimistic
production.
about that, hopefully.
All right,
Don't
that
know
sounds
yet.
good. Well, I know you'll be back. You'll be back for football games, right? Got to
Oh,
do
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
And for this year, we need the shirt, right? Let's go
Yeah.
find out what the shirt is. Justine Ward is out at Hamlet's Bookstore. Justine.
Hey guys, well, we are at Ham's Notre Dame Bookstore where the shirt was just revealed. This is your first look at the 2015 shirt. Abby, go ahead and do a spin for us. Green and gold, here come the Irish. Pretty awesome, I would say. And then on the front, let's turn around to the front, kind of got the traditional helmets here. And Abby's actually with the shirt committee. So what was the inspiration for this year's shirt?
We really just wanted to play off the tradition of Notre Dame football and the shirt project itself. A golden tradition tends to work well. We have the golden dome, the golden helmets, and a great football program. So that's kind of what made it come together with the vintage feel, really owing to our history.
And these shirts are actually now on sale inside the bookstore, so you can already get them. And we're actually going to have more with the shirt committee coming up later in this broadcast. But for now, let's send it back to you.
Well, hey. All right, thank you, Justine, and welcome back to Notre Dame Day. I'm Leanne Tokars, and I'm joined now by Father Tim Scully and Father Sean McGraw, the co-founders of ACE, the Alliance for Catholic Education, which just celebrated its 20th anniversary last year. Father Scully, Father McGraw, thank you for joining us for Notre Dame Day.
Great to be here, Leanne.
Let's go all the
Thank
way
you.
back to the beginning. Father Tim, what was the reasoning behind starting ACE?
You know, what we found was the most important and largest private school system in the world, the Catholic school system in the United States, was experiencing a real crisis because the vocations to the sisters and the brothers who founded this amazing apostolate with almost nothing in the 19th and 20th century, the vocations were kind of disappearing in this country anyway. So we were challenged by a religious sister, Sister Lourdes Sheehan, who said, what are we going to do to replace this amazing group of people who started this extraordinary apostolate, especially in service to immigrant people? So she challenged us to come up with a solution. And the solution 21 years ago was the Alliance for Catholic Education to provide talent and resources to America's Catholic schools.
And ACE has really done a lot. Kind of talk about the impact it's had on Catholic education.
Well, as you said, we've grown a lot over the last 20 years, and the great thing is that the people who've gone through the program keep discovering new needs and have wanted to respond to those. So we started off with training teachers, and then we decided to train principals, and then we're trying to take schools over. We're trying to get more Latino children into schools, and so we like to think of it as kind of flooding the zone, that there's no one single thing is going to make the difference, but if you come at it from all these different angles, then hopefully over time you can start to move the needle and kind of transform the Catholic schools, which have been so important for our country.
Yeah, you kind of touched on the training of teachers. How does it impact the men and women who take part in ACE as the teachers?
Well, I tell you, I suppose the amazing thing about teaching as a vocation is that in the Catholic tradition, because we're a pretty clerical tradition in terms of ministry, a teacher has such a strong identity. And you know what's really been surprising to us is when we started ACE, we thought this would be like a 2-year service program. 22 years later, quite honestly, about 75% of those young people are still in teaching.
Wow.
Now, is that pretty amazing?
It is amazing. And you know, when you're in a group of people who have gone to Notre Dame, there is always going to be at least one who has taken part in ACE.
Yeah. No, it's been amazing. We often have, very close to 10% of the senior class applying to ACE. And so we have an embarrassment of riches. We wish we could accept everybody. We end up accepting a class of about 100 people, but they turn the world upside down. And what an amazing experience of leadership and efficacy for these young people as they discover their own gifts You know, they say teaching is to learn twice, and that's really true.
And do you still hear concerns now? What is the need now?
Yeah, I mean, we're working in so many different dioceses. We're in almost one of every 4 Catholic schools in the United States is touched by a person who's done something with ACE. But the 2 big things, I mean, really it's leadership, leadership, leadership. If you don't have a good leader in your school, it's not going to work. And so we're working a lot with dioceses, both to train principals here, but to find ways to help them kind of improve their own leaders. But the other is turnaround schools. So right now we have 5 what are called Notre Dame ACE Academies, and we're going to 4 more in Orlando next year. And where we go in, we actually take the school over, and with a strong emphasis on school culture, on academic excellence, we've really turned these around. And the great thing is you do it with the same people who are in the building, but just raise the expectations, and the students rise. So kids who are reading at 12% of the national average are reading at 60% of the national average in 3 years. So those are the kinds of leadership and turnaround schools are the real big things that people are looking for.
So in the next 20 years, where do we see ACE?
You know what's funny is if you had asked us, right, 22 years ago, where would we be? You know, we started ACE with $5,000, and Father Malloy gave us $5,000 and said good luck. And, you know, we have 107 people full-time working with us, and, you know, our budget's grown from $5,000 to an annual budget of about $16 million. And quite honestly, I think the Holy Spirit has something really special in mind for our next 20 years. I would hope, quite honestly, that instead of being in one of every 4 Catholic schools in America, that we're in every single school in America, saving these schools and making them transformative for the students in them.
That sounds great. Father Tim, Father Sean, thank you so very much for joining us for Notre Dame Day.
Thank you, Leah. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back after this break.
The great thinkers of the world were really entrepreneurs. Aristotle and Plato and Descartes, they expanded the realm of the possible. Studying the works of these great authors inspired me to not only question where I wanted my life to go, but how I wanted to live it.
Paul Tierney is a graduate of the University of Notre Dame's Philosophy Department, the founder of 5 businesses, and the chairman of TechnoServe, a nonprofit organization that provides training and guidance to entrepreneurs in developing economies.
Notre Dame taught me a lot about how to analyze complicated problems, and perhaps most importantly, to understand the importance of imagination and creativity.
And these are all your products? Yes. You make those too?
Mm-hmm. So in looking at situations in Africa or India or Latin America with TechnoServe, I hearken back to the days at Notre Dame where I faced some problems where I really didn't know how to start, but I knew that there was a solution.
After graduation, I want to work on addressing food sustainability, which is why I decided to study the humanities at Notre Dame, because I knew it was an issue without simple answers, and I wanted to be able to approach it in a creative and critical way.
When I perceive that men as plants increase, what figure of speech is Shakespeare using? In studying the humanities at Notre Dame, students are confronted with great thinkers and artists who became great by forging new paths. So students learn they must think for themselves. And then they leave Notre Dame with a sense not only of how to make their way in the world, but how to make the world better as they go.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting to inspire the mind and spirit.
We are
the Fighting Irish.
When we really talk about the Fighting Irish, and yes, it's the Fighting Irish, we got to talk about the Bengal Belts. And no one better than Father Brian Daly, who for how many years now, Padre?
Oh, about 15.
Oh, no, all together.
Oh, 45.
Yeah, right, trying to get me that number. But seriously, tell why this is so important to what we do with the student body to make this become a real reality check for what goes on in some part of the world called Bangladesh.
Right. Well, you know, I think boxing itself, amateur boxing, is a great sport for young people and gets them not only in good condition, but really engages them. I think people learn from it. But I think here at Notre Dame, it has a very special role. It's a long tradition. We've done it for 86 years so far. And it's a way of not only training people in something new, but it is dedicated to raising money to support the Holy Cross missions in Bangladesh. And now for the last 12 years or so, we've had a women's tournament that raises money for the Holy Cross missions in Uganda. So it's a way of getting people involved in working for the poor around the world who really are in need of support.
And this is one of the real needs of what Notre Dame does outside of the classroom. And obviously we have this young man here. And I think Mr. Garrity McCusker.
McCusker, yeah.
Yeah, you have won this thing the past couple of years, but more importantly, not just winning it 3 straight years, but more importantly, what was it like for you to spend last year over in Bangladesh?
Right, so for the last 5 or 6 years, the club has been sending members to Bangladesh to better understand what the mission is, to better connect our club with the mission. And in my 8 weeks there, it was an amazing experience. Primary purpose of us to be there was to teach English. For those 8 weeks, we did a secondary English course for the students there. But it was a lot more than that. It was actually an experience to sort of make an ambassador relationship between our club and to bring the stories of these kids and people that are receiving the education back to Notre Dame, donors, fighters, and everyone who's involved with the tournament.
When you get in that boxing ring, though, you got one thing in your focus, and that's to win.
Right.
And I always say this, when you win in, say, a sport, you win in the game of life. How can you take from what you've learned in boxing now into the game of life as you leave Notre Dame as a graduate?
Well, I mean, boxing's been one of the biggest joys of my life, whether it's, you know, the activity I got into as a kid to you know, help out with my anger problems, or if it's the mission I was a part of at Notre Dame, which is the most significant cause I was ever a part of here was the Bengal Belts. But next year, I'm planning on, in a couple weeks I'm graduating, and then I'm moving back to Los Angeles. I'm going to hit the training again, and I'm going to be pursuing a professional career in boxing.
Going pro. So does that mean, like, we can forget Mayweather and go with you? No? Yes?
I have a specific niche to fill, and I'm not Mayweather, though.
But the thing is this, when I look at Father, and you know this, it's amazing to see the young men and young women train. And, you know, they may start fighting in March, but they start training in the fall semester. What's that experience?
I mean, it's really, I mean, we started, so this year as a captain, we decided we were going to start as early as October, actually. And we hadn't even touched the glove yet. We were putting kids through all kinds of physical workouts and just making sure people's bodies were in shape before they were able to get their minds and hearts in shape. But yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Father, so go back when you decided to make this commitment to this, not just Bangladesh, but obviously to the Bengal Belts.
Well, actually, my involvement here at Notre Dame began with the women's boxing club, which was new at that time. And I had 2 young women in my class, undergraduate class, who were kind of charter members of the women's boxing club. And I remember seeing them with T-shirts, something like Garrity's, after a class on St. Augustine one time. And I said, I didn't know we had a women's boxing club here. And they said, well, we're just starting. So we talked about that, and I said, I've been involved in this for a while. And they said, well, we're looking for a faculty advisor. Would you want to? So
you said, yeah, give me the gloves.
But I started off that way and then kind of got involved with the men after that, helping coach for them. And it's been fun. I really
well, as we all know, we lost a great friend in Father Theodore Hesper.
Absolutely.
And he had, one of his great missions here was to make this place co-ed, and of which now we get some 20,000 applicants. But more importantly, as he's up there resting in peace, 1,000 men, 1,000 women. But to see now that when I first came here some 44 years ago, it was about the guys getting ready for boxing. But to see the women involved now, making this commitment and knowing where it's going and why, this is what makes this place special on the outreach. I mean, we just saw Father Scully and what they do with that ACE program. We're going to make a difference in Catholic communities with education. But more importantly, to make that mission to go abroad and you taste it for 8 weeks and bring it back and share that experience with other students, this is what, to me, makes it more special than winning in that ring, but winning in the game of life. So from that, I've got to say, Garrity, we wish you well in LA and in your next career. Make sure you have a backup. Your degree.
I do.
And make sure, Father Bryant, you take care of yourself and keep this thing going, because it's always been one of, not just the mistakes, but one of the real traditions of Notre Dame, the Bengal Belts. We'll be right back after the next break. Go green. We're Irish.
As a family, we always dreamed of someday owning a home. After years of hard work and sacrifice, our dream came true. But when Hurricane Sandy hit in the fall of 2012, we lost everything. The stress, the uncertainty, the financial pressure, it was all so overwhelming, and we didn't know if we would ever be able to rebuild.
Since 2005, Professor Marianne Cassato, a graduate of Notre Dame's School of Architecture, has worked to design innovative housing solutions for victims of natural disasters.
In the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, it became obvious as a nation we were unprepared to meet both the short-term and the long-term needs of those who lost their homes. My goal was to design a solution that was not only fast, affordable, and safe, but one that would also provide people with a beautiful home they would be proud to live in.
Through her Katrina Cottage designs, Cassato created a groundbreaking alternative to the FEMA trailer, benefiting over 3,000 families. Now, in partnership with Clayton Homes, she is working to further improve emergency housing through the design of high-quality modular homes, the first of which have been constructed in Union Beach, New Jersey.
Marianne's design not only gives us a new house that we can feel safe in, but also a house that feels like a home.
We're incredibly proud of Marianne's work. It reflects the mission of the School of Architecture to educate students to strive to have a lasting impact on people's lives.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting to design a better home.
We are the Fighting Irish.
Welcome back to Notre Dame Day. I'm Leanne Tokars. You know, engineers are forever looking for innovative ways to solve the world's problems. And junior engineering computer science major Buck Borden has done just that. He's invented an app to help make life easier for people who struggle to understand time numerically. Buck, welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Thank you for having me.
I was kind of reading the background on this app, and you really had a personal reason for inventing this app. Kind of tell us that story.
So my older sister Haley actually suffered 2 strokes before she was born. And she's actually mentally disabled and deaf. And as a consequence of her disability, she can't understand abstract things like numbers or time. And one of the biggest challenges that my family faces is having Haley conform to a schedule like on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
And so while you and I might understand that, say, 6 p.m. means literally 6 p.m., to Haley that doesn't really mean anything. And just for another example, she oftentimes will be looking forward to seeing her friend Ginny, say at 10 a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
And again, 10 a.m. doesn't mean anything to Haley, but since that doesn't mean anything to her, we'll tell her, okay, in the morning, you'll be seeing Ginny. And so she'll go to bed with that in mind. And sometimes that works fine, but other times she'll wake up and it's 6 a.m. and it's morning, but she doesn't really understand that it's not 10 a.m. yet. So, that's a big problem for her. And there's actually a lot of other people like Haley who can't understand time. So that could be other people with different disabilities, young children, or people suffering from Alzheimer's. And so what I wanted to do was just create an app named C-Time that allows people like Haley to better understand time.
And to kind of tell me how you created this app.
So when I was creating it, first I had to learn how to code in Objective-C, which is what iOS apps are written in. I formed an LLC and applied for a developer's license through Apple. And once I'd done all that, I started developing the app. I tested it, and then once I felt that I had a finished version ready and ready to distribute, I submitted it to the App Store. And once you do that, Apple reviewers will look over it for about a week to 2 weeks, and if it passes all their guidelines, they'll basically give you the thumbs up, and it'll be available on the App Store.
Now, Buck, we were just showing some video of the app, and you can see kind of it's almost like a graph, and it's slowly moving. Explain how that works.
Yeah, so for people like my sister who don't necessarily understand numbers, they can't understand like visual relationships. So it's actually sort of similar to the normal iPhone calendar, but instead of the events just populating the normal calendar, they are also represented by pictures and a progress bar.
Okay.
And so that's actually really helpful to Haley because the progress bar gives her like a visual cue of like when things are going to happen.
Which we can see right there.
So if a bar is moving fast, she knows the event is going to happen soon. If it's at the beginning, she knows she's going to have to wait a little while. If it's near the end, she knows she doesn't have that long to wait. And one of the big pluses is once the event occurs or ends, depending on how you configure it, the progress bar will change colors and a green check mark will appear.
Okay.
And that just gives her like a really easy way of understanding that that event is actually going to happen.
And this is in the Apple App Store, which is really neat. Congratulations to you for making such a great app that really helps a lot of people.
Thank you.
Thank you, Buck, for being here for Notre Dame Day, and we'll be right back.
We all have the power to transform someone else's life, and every day, some people do.
13-year-old Katie grows thousands of pounds of food a year in her garden to feed needy families like mine.
When the housing market crashed, my coworkers agreed to cut their salaries. Layoffs were avoided, and I was able to keep my job.
30 years after graduation, Chris, my college roommate, gave me his kidney. He saved my life.
So why do some of us give so much and others so little? And how can we help other people become more generous?
At the University of Notre Dame, sociologist Christian Smith is leading an international research effort to study the causes, manifestations, and consequences of generosity.
It's a premise of our project that a more generous world is a better world. We are doing something truly unique here in studying generosity scientifically instead of philosophically.
Notre Dame is awarding grants in fields of research from psychology to genetics, with funding from the John Templeton Foundation.
Notre Dame has taken a leadership role in putting a bright light on the topic of generosity. With these grants, we've done everything from map social networks in Africa to recruit subjects from around the world to participate in experiments, all directed at understanding why are we generous to each other.
The goal of our research is to provide the tools and the insights to people and organizations to help make the world a more generous place.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting to feed the hungry.
Fighting for our co-workers.
Fighting to save a friend.
We are the Fighting Irish.
This is Digger Phelps, and obviously we know the one guy because of his basketball ability, Demetrius Jackson. But when we take a look at two special people who made a commitment, and I got to look at Beth and Dave and know that the Whitfields said, you know what, we're going to make a difference in somebody's life and give this person a chance to win in the game of life as a student athlete. And I know you're both Marian graduates.
Yes, we are.
So how did you get involved to make all this dream become a reality?
He started to play AAU basketball with our son Michael, and they became friends and spent a lot of time together. And Demetrius wanted to come to our house every weekend and hang out. I'm not sure why, because it was a crazy house. We have 5 kids.
She had good food, right?
Yeah. So he started to come on Friday nights till Sunday, and he would travel with David to all the basketball tournaments, and they just started to really become close, and he became part of our family right from the beginning.
I just look at that, and I got to say, when I see it, David, it takes a special family to step up and step out to make this happen. But this, as we look around the world today, this is an issue for a lot of young people who just want that chance. And you guys made that decision.
Yeah, Michael came up when Beth was upstairs and asked us if Dee could live with us. And our first reaction is sure. I mean, we don't think it all through and so forth, but we knew Demetrius was a very good kid, and we knew he needed some help. And so we said sure, and it was that simple.
Well, I'm really proud of what you've done, but the only thing that disappoints me is since my kids went to St. Joe and they both went to Marian, you end up at Marian.
Yeah.
All right. You know when you go to Marian, you're going there for one reason, student athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And that led you, going from Marion, in the great year you had with those kids over there, to end up at Notre Dame, which again is about the student athlete. That transition from high school to college.
Yeah, my high school was very similar to Notre Dame. Strong Catholic identity, great people, great academics, and great athletics. And I was lucky to have these two just kind of guide me, just take a chance, let me stay with them and give me the opportunity to be successful. And I just took advantage of it to the best of my ability and ended up at a great school.
What do you think was the crossroads in your life when you can look back as a young kid growing up and saying, I can make this choice or I can make that choice? Obviously, you made the right choice.
Yeah, around the time when I started playing AAU basketball, that was kind of the first time on the court where it's helped me be disciplined. Whether it was our AAU coach making us run suicides or and stuff like that, but I just really learned discipline. Learned kind of like a work ethic, going to the gym very often, putting in the work it took to be successful. That's kind of where it started for me around the 7th and 8th grade.
And then you made that transition because obviously in high school you got to get the courses and the grades to get into Notre Dame.
Yeah, it was really tough, but like I said before, we had great people and great teachers, great staff at the school, and there were so many different outlets I could go to for help. Everybody was very helpful, a lot of resources similar to Notre Dame.
Well, all of a sudden you guys are all back, and we see two senior leaders. And when I look at Mr. Grant and Mr. Connaughton, they had one mission. We're going to win. And here you are as a sophomore, and I call you the three amigos on the perimeter. I mean, Jackson, Connaughton, and Grant. You guys just took off and made it happen where you end up in the Final 8, losing to Kentucky in a close game. What was the experience when you guys smelled it, knew it, and just went after it all season?
It was just so much fun and so amazing to be a part of that group. To do the things we did, to work as hard as we did, and just kind of have each other's backs. It was just really special to be a part of because, as you know, I'm a big family guy. And so just to have that opportunity, just a blessing for me and for my family to be able to come to the games and experience it as well. It was really cool. And then having those two of the best leaders that ever come through Notre Dame kind of teach me and help me grow as a person and a basketball player, just really neat, really cool. It's awesome.
Well, now it's your turn. You're a junior, and you remember what Mr. Grant did, especially in that Louisville game when he scored 12 straight points to put it into the first of 5 overtimes. Louisville goes on to win a national title that year after they lost to Notre Dame. But you know what happened when you guys knocked off Duke in the ACC semifinals this year in the conference tournament? They go on to win a national championship, but you've got a great nucleus coming back next year. But it's your turn because I know Mr. Grant and I know Mr. Connaughton have passed you the torch to be the leader.
Yep.
What's it going to be the challenge to make this happen?
It's going to be a huge challenge, but like you said before, we kind of understand it now. We've been there, and we know what it takes to kind of reach that level. And so I think it's just my job to continue to press the gas pedal for our team so that we can continue to work hard in the off season and during the season so we can continue to be successful.
Well, I must really congratulate you two, really, seriously, what you've done. And this is an example, which I think the world needs to see. Since we're going global, this is an example of how we can make a difference in the game of life and through basketball, becoming the hook, get this guy win in the game of life. Back to you, Leanne. Justine, it's to you. Well, you get the shirt yet? Is it green? What's going on out there?
Hey guys, we are at Ricky Band Rehearsal Hall on the campus of University of Notre Dame. It's been a pretty busy day for the Band of the Fighting Irish. We just saw them at the big shirt reveal, and we're actually joined by Assistant Band Director Larry Dwyer. Larry, thank you so much for joining us.
Delighted to be here.
And a busy day for the Band of the Fighting Irish, am I right?
They're all busy days. We love this time of year. There are concerts going on and, you know, the shirt presentation, and, of course, this wonderful Notre Dame Day. We're just delighted to be part of it.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of students in and out of here, and they're coming in for a concert tonight. Is that right?
Yes, there's a concert starting actually right now of the band ensembles, all the sections like the clarinet choir, the brass choir, the saxophone choir. About 8 different groups are playing tonight. All together, within a 5 or 6 day span at the end of the semester, we have performances by 3 different concert bands, 3 different jazz bands, all these section ensembles, virtually everything except, say, the basketball bands and the marching band, because they're all done for the season right now.
And you've been working here at Notre Dame for about 14 years, and you're actually a Notre Dame alum as well.
Yes, I am, and just delighted to be here. It's a dream to work at this place because, first of all, the University of Notre Dame has such a great tradition, and to have been a student and to come back and get to work with these wonderful students that we now have, it's just terrific.
And everybody loved the band. Really gets to shine during football season. I mean, there's nothing that beats the band of the Fighting Irish. When do you start preparing for football season?
We start right about the middle of August. Actually, students come in just a week before classes begin, and we combine orienting the new freshmen and doing tryouts, coordinating that with freshman orientation, and it takes us about 5 days to select our band, and then we have sometimes 1 week. This fall we'll have 2 weeks to get ready for that Texas game.
And it's a pretty good workout, too, all those lines and coordinations that they have to have known when they go into that game day.
Yes, and some of the students who come here have never marched before, oftentimes from small Catholic high schools where there might be a nice band but no marching band. And I always say if they know which one is their left foot, we can teach them how to march and do it well. And actually the students in the Notre Dame band do a tremendous amount of the work in teaching the incoming students how to march.
Yeah, and one last tidbit of advice for kids, maybe parents watching at home who want to be on the band of the Fighting Irish.
I would say absolutely try out for it. One of the great things is that we only 1% of the students in the band are music majors, so it is open to students from every academic discipline. And they all do extremely well academically, and they say being in band here for 4 years, best decision they ever made.
All right, well, thank you so much, Larry. That is it from here from the Ricky Van Rehearsal Hall. Let's head back to you.
All right, thank you, Justine. Now, you've seen the work of our next guest if you've ever seen a GQ magazine in recent years. Joining us live from New York is Michael Haney, class of 1986, and the editor-at-large of GQ magazine. Michael, welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Thanks, great to be here.
Now, GQ is the #1 men's style magazine in the world, and 2 of the people leading it are Notre Dame alums. Did you dream about this when you were a student here?
No, I didn't. It's sort of one of those things like life. You sort of go on a journey and you end up where you are. I had a great experience at the College of Arts and Letters with the English department there. Terrific teachers, Tom Werge and other people, and Greg Kusich, who sort of really taught me about writing and literature. And that's what really sort of was my path into journalism, was through the English department there. And so it's really, that was the great foundation I had. And I ended up at GQ again for the journalism and the writing that I was able to do there.
Now, did you read GQ before you went to work there?
I had started reading it in college, yeah, and so then, it was a long route there. I sort of came to New York, worked at a small magazine called Spy Magazine, which was edited by a man named Graydon Carter, who's now the editor of Vanity Fair, and he was really sort of my first mentor, along with his other editor, Kurt Anderson. So, sort of took a chance and came to New York, not really knowing many people in the magazine world, but that really paid off for me.
You already talked a lot about how Notre Dame prepared you for a job like this. Kind of explain to us what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Well, it's magazines these days are always evolving, and it's especially in the digital world. And so a lot of it's everything from sort of working with writers to sort of come up with stories. I'm writing my own stories. And then it's also sort of figuring out really like, how does GQ evolve in the digital world now? It's not just a print publication. It's got a website. It's got a social media footprint, does videos. And it's really sort of evolving the magazine within Condé Nast into its next generation. So it's what I always sort of call like 3-dimensional chess now.
Have you ever had a conversation with the designer Tom Brown about attending Notre Dame?
I have, in fact, Tom and I, we consider each other brothers. We're pretty much best friends. We live in the same building here, coincidentally enough, and sort of see each other probably once a week, twice a week for just what we call family dinners. So it's curious, we didn't know each other at Notre Dame. We lived in different residence halls, but in fact, my wife knew him and sort of introduced us some years ago, and we've really just become sort of, like I say, brothers now.
Yeah, it's hard for that not to happen when the Notre Dame family comes together. Thank you, Michael, for joining us for Notre Dame Day.
Thanks for having me.
And now it's time to check in with our social media lounge to see where we stand.
All right, thank you so much. We're here in the social media lounge, ready to give you the big tour. As I mentioned, it's bigger and better this year. As you can see, we're out in the full first floor of La Fortune Lounge. Thanks to everyone who has taken part so far in Notre Dame Day. Everyone who's gone, click that gold give and vote button, sent a text to ND Day 80077. It's been tremendous so far. Let's take a look at some of our results. To give you a background on how the Challenge Fund works, we're asking all members of the Notre Dame family to think, what are the 5 things that you love most at Notre Dame? Maybe it was your former residence hall. Maybe it's your local Notre Dame club and their scholarship. Maybe it was a team that you belong to. Any interest at all, think about those 5 things. Click that gold give and vote button, send a text, ND Day, to 80077, and then you'll make a minimum $10 gift. With that $10 gift, you'll receive 5 votes with that first gift. You can assign those 5 votes to any of those 5 interests that you thought of, and that area will receive votes towards this year's $1 million Challenge Fund competition. And it's straight down party lines. However, whichever club or group or team or interest receives the top portion of votes, they're going to get that portion of $1 million, and so on and so forth. Let's take a look at some of the results so far. We've received an unbelievable 4,910 gifts so far. That tops last year's total for the entire year. So a huge thanks to everyone tuning in the Notre Dame community. We've raised over $1.1 million, just staggering. Thanks to all of you. Let's talk about the leaderboard now. As I mentioned, the votes go right down the line. So, for instance, number 1, Ultimate Frisbee, has over 1,200 votes right now. They've been out all week long on social media. Right now, if the contest ended right now, they would receive $67,000. And number 2, well, hold on one sec. Hey, is there anybody here from the Glee Club? Yeah! The Glee Club is number 2 in the voting right now. You could get $45,000 if the contest ended right now. So the Glee Club's excited. They're going to be performing in a little bit. Sacred Music is following up with number 3. You can look at these results yourself. You can give and vote directly to those areas by clicking those gold buttons, or you can filter by academic interest, by team, by club, all of the above. To give you a sense of what else is going on in the lounge, I'm going to try to find my colleague Sarah here and go over to her. Sarah?
Hi, Jonathan. Thanks so much. We're having just a great time over here in the social media lounge, and I'm going to walk you through some of the things that we're monitoring. First of all, we have the Notre Dame Day photo poll, and we're going to be doing a photo poll every hour, and in the 8 o'clock hour, we've got the Glee Club. So you can either vote for, well, you're voting for your favorite Glee Club song, which I know is like voting for your favorite child, but I think you can do it. So you can either vote for Notre Dame Our Mother, or Hike ND, and you can just do it right from your chair by tweeting hashtag ND Our Mother or hashtag Hike ND. And this is very timely. We're going to hear from the Glee Club coming up, and so I talked to one of the members, and he did say we would be hearing one of these songs. So stay tuned, and then maybe you'll know how to vote. So let's follow me back here. And this is our social mosaic. Now you can actually see this right on the Notre Dame Day website. And I've been watching this, and we've had lots of cute kids and cute animals. I'm not sure this is quite so cute, but I think it's a shout out from the Notre Dame Club of Miami. And we've also had lots of action on the unveiling of the shirt. Everybody's really excited about that. And as far as hall action, I've been hearing from Welsh Fam and Pangborn, and a little bit from the Phone Center staff. So we've got one more thing to show you. Let's walk on over here. And this screen is called A Global Celebration of Notre Dame, which is really what we want to do here. And this is showing the social media chatter that's been taking place. And so it kind of started out early on in Indiana, good old South Bend, and then a little bit over also in California. And then, wow, the East Coast is blown up. We're hitting Great Britain and even South America. So get active, start posting. We want to see from your area. And that is all.